I hope you're enjoying your Friday afternoon. We are Fox NASCAR live in wine country. That means we are racing at Sonoma Raceway this weekend. Cup cars get it done on Sunday. And tomorrow, for the first time ever, NASCAR's Xfinity Series racing at Sonoma. With it being a new track on the schedule, we get a full 50 minutes of practice, and we're happy to bring it to you. Good to have you along for the ride. Welcome in, everybody, with Michael Waltrip, Regan Smith. I'm Adam Alexander. Boy, that music just has me softened up. I'm ready for a nice glass of wine, you know. Hey, let's talk about what's going to happen here today. Last week, we were racing on a road course, Portland, Oregon. We're racing on a road course this weekend. The two absolutely have nothing in common, Michael.
This is just a wild ride. I love this racetrack. I came here the first time NASCAR came to Sonoma, and I just love this venue. So many twists and turns, highs and lows. This place goes everywhere. Which way. And I tell you how good I was here at Sonoma. I made it through turn 1 on my qualifying lap, and I ran off on turn 2 and flipped over. Can you imagine how wound up I'd have been if I'd made 6 or 7 corners around this place?
It would have been a great ride, wouldn't it have been?
But there's the map. You can see turn 1 as you go up the hill. Turn 2's at the top. Then you get over toward the back straight where the S's are. And, of course, I think maybe the most important turn for me was always number 11. You got to go from wide open down to second gear, maybe even first as you work your way off that turn. A lot of time to be made there. Regan, you know that. This is a cool racetrack to drive on.
Cool racetrack, and it's one of those tracks as a driver, you just want to be out there. And for these Xfinity guys, this is the first time that a lot of them are going to be out there, Michael. They've got 1 hour, and this 1 hour practice, perhaps one of the most important ones of the year, for them to not only learn the track, not only learn the braking zones and everything that they're going to have to do, but also figure out how they're going to pass guys, how they're going to race on this track when we get into the race tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be an action-packed hour of practice.
There are a lot of drivers that come here needing experience in practice because, as you said, they've never been here. The young guys in the Xfinity Series. Then there are the old veterans that said, let me run on Saturday to get ready for Sunday. Here are the drivers doing double duty. Suarez, who won this race a year ago, his first career Cup win, is in the field. A.J. Allmendinger is back running on the Xfinity side. And Kyle Larson dominated here 2 years ago. He's driving the 17. Now we go down to pit road and hear from Josh Sims.
Well, you know, Adam, you talk about the guys that are doing the double dip. This is an absolute stacked field for this Xfinity race here this weekend. And the one I have my eye on, that is the 10 car, A.J. Allmendinger, back in the 10. The last time he was in the 10, that was at Coda, and we know he was able to win that race. But I talked to AJ, and he said this place, Sonoma, is where he actually had his worst race ever in a Cup car. So you know him as the guy that always wins on the road course. This place, Sonoma, has not been too great for him. But I talked to him about just a little bit ago, and he's, you know, this isn't the white whale for me. He's like, obviously, I want to come here. I want to win at a place that I haven't been able to get a win. But this practice session, it's all about figuring out where the passing zones are, the tire fall off, all those things he's going to need to be able to come away with a win in a stacked field like I mentioned here tomorrow, guys.
He's someone I'm really anxious to watch because, as you said, Josh, this has not been his best track on the Cup side when you talk about the road courses. But when he gets in that 10 car in Xfinity, he's almost unbeatable when we hit the road. Cars are rolling off the grid, and we're ready for practice on board here with Cole Custer. I've always said it, it's one of the great scenes in all of NASCAR. Our Fox weather for Sonoma, 67 degrees. There is a slight breeze, a lot of clouds, sun trying to peek through, but it's been a cool day here. If you didn't read the forecast before you made the trip out, you might not have made the proper pack with your suitcase, you know?
So used to coming out here and sweating and having 95-degree temperature, and today definitely different. This whole weekend's going to be that way, though. Gorgeous weather.
And the thing about it, the race car drivers are so happy. This is physically one of the hardest tracks on the whole circuit with the uphill and downhills we talked about, heavy braking, all the shifting. You really work hard around this road course. So nice, cool temperatures makes the drivers happy. It also makes the crew chiefs happy because it makes the car just a little bit easier to get it to stick to the road like they want.
I guarantee you, though, even with those cool temperatures and it sticking to the road a little bit better, we're going to hear a lot about rear tires and drive off of the corner. It's going to happen in this practice session. It's going to happen all day tomorrow as these guys get rolling. And that's going to be the storyline. How do you keep driving your race car and keep your race car doing what you need it to get down these straightaways and have momentum?
And fall off. These tires will fall off here quite a lot during the course of a run. And that's another challenge as we ride up toward turn 2 with Ty Gibbs. You can see that sharp corner at the top, and look, straight downhill. Heavy braking here.
The car really compresses as you get down into turn 3 and up to 3A. It compresses in 3, but now the car gets super light as you crest the hill, and another heavy braking zone as you get down into 4.
This is a fun turn. You hop that curb right there. You can swing way out. You'll see him all the way out there to those tires on the left as they run down. Look at all those slower cars he's having to negotiate his way through. People just getting warmed up, getting ready to make their hot lap. And Ty's out there making one, but a little bit of traffic he's dealing with.
It's going to unfortunately make Ty's hot lap not so hot based on what just took place.
But he's learning. You know, that's what it's all about right now. You know you're not going to put down a lap time here early with that kind of traffic to deal with. But he's learning what that car's doing. He already knows enough now to report back to the team what he needs for changes. But I heard a lot of these guys, if they like their cars, Regan, we're down in the garage area, they said they might run out 15 laps or so and just see what it does as the tires do heat up.
This is turn 11 for the reigning champ, Ty Gibbs, making his 3rd start of 2023 in the Xfinity Series.
That's cool. Right in there with his feet.
Always fun to see the footwork of these guys, too, as you're on the pedals, you're on the brake, you're on the gas, you're trying to make sure that your brakes are set for the corner. Sometimes you give it just a little extra pump, and you're always working. It's really like a dance move, almost, inside of the race cars as you're using your feet.
You should have been great here, Michael.
Well, I think if you saw me on Dancing with the Stars, you'll understand why I only made it one turn and flipped over. The dancing was the key to it, huh, Regan? Darn.
It's all about the dance, Mikey.
Chandler Smith in the 16, fresh off a top 10 finish last week in Portland. And boy, did they have a lot to battle through. Had a penalty, off track a couple of times, persevered final stage to come home 9th. And he was top 5 here in the Craftsman Truck Series race a season ago. So some positive vibes for driver 16, youngster out of Georgia.
Yeah, if you're new to NASCAR, you're going to see a lot of curb hopping. That's part of the game when you road race. You've got to really hit those apexes low and be able to hop over those curbs to make better time.
The crazy part about the curbs, too, every curb's different, right? Every curb's a little different on how you hit it. And we talked off the top about how much these guys have to learn when they get out there. They're going to have to learn each of those curbs and which ones you can hit hard, which ones you can't, and which ones are tougher than others.
Onboard Cole Custer won last week in Portland. First career win on a road course, 11th in his career in the NASCAR Xfinity Series.
Lovely Ferris wheel here, making the backdrop of our camera shots as he works his way down toward turn 11. Listen to this heavy braking. You shift the gears, pop that throttle a little bit to match those RPMs. That's part of this game too. That's part of the dance.
And what you didn't hear there was any shaking, which is usually wheel hop. That can happen a lot as you get into turn 11, the way the car compresses into there. And then as you come down the front straightaway here, to me, this is one of my favorite corners in all of racing. As you go up the hill, you don't really brake that heavy. You just lift and the car slows down because this hill is so steep, 160 feet of elevation right there.
And you know, you're not wide open either, but you're still wanting to give it a little gas, just trying to work the throttle as you go up the hill there.
Had Custer, who's on a roll lately. There's his teammate, 98 of Riley Hertz. We go on board here. Both these drivers doing double duty. They'll run the ARCA race later today and then the Xfinity event tomorrow. They did the same thing last weekend in Portland.
I got a surprise for you.
I was going to say, go ahead, give it to me.
All right. I don't want to make you too shocked, but there's your fastest guy, Kyle Larson. You knew that was going to be the case. He's only got a couple of tenths on Sheldon Creed.
Keep this phrase in mind. Even though it's 6 minutes into practice, Kyle Larson is leading the way at Sonoma.
I was out in Nebraska playing in Larry the Cable Guy's charity event, and we were in Lincoln, and that's where Eagle Speedway is. And Kyle Larson raced at Eagle while we were out there for Larry the Cable Guy. I think he was battling with Rico Abreu late in the race, but you know, Kyle, wherever you go, you got to beat Kyle, and that's the case here again.
I don't think there's a racetrack that Kyle hasn't been to in the country just about at this point, and probably has won at almost all of them as well.
So you got Allmendinger third. We know how good he is. We talked about Larson. In between them, the two of Sheldon Creed, coming off a great performance last Saturday in Portland on the road, and he has become quite the road racer.
Yeah, and this team is just really this year, they've been clicking, and you feel like they're knocking on the door to get that first win. They're just, everything they're doing is starting to get right every week. Even when they have a bad week, they still find a way to get the job done.
no sophomore slump, right? It's been a sophomore surge for Sheldon Creed. Look at the numbers if you compare last year as a rookie to what he's doing this season. Across the board, they are so much better. And the big thing is being 9th in points as of now. Nice advantage over the cut line. They would be championship eligible. Let's go down to Josh.
Yeah, guys, and you look at the numbers right there. Sheldon talks just about how important it is, the success they're having and the growth from last year to this year. Now, the next step for him is to finally break through and get that win. He's been so close, especially on those road courses this year. I mean, he's led laps at COTA. He led at the Roval last year. Of course, we saw how dominant he was last week, but we also saw what happened getting spun from the lead. He said that's happened to him a number of different times, and he said at some point he's got to be more aggressive. He's got to start pushing back because he's getting frustrated with what's happening out there. We saw the on-track incident with John Hunter Nemechek. He said they are even at this point, but he said what happened at the end on the overtime restart with Parker, Allgaier, and him going 3 wide and him getting bumped out of the lead. He said that one hurt, and he said something needs to change.
Well, the results have been there. Now if they can just find a way to get that next stretch and finish the deal. Looking at Brennan Poole in the 6th coming down pit road because he went off track in turn 10. There's Jeb Burton in the 27-1 earlier this season at Talladega. He is around. We stay green, and we've talked about how difficult this track is, and we're seeing that virtually at every corner. This is the 25 of Brett Moffitt. He's got him locked down. Kyle Larson showing the way in practice for the Xfinity Series. There's Brennan Poole. There's a look at the 27 of Jeb Burton. He was stalled on the track. So with that, we have our first pause in the action during Xfinity Series practice here at Sonoma. And this was a really tight moment with Daniel Hemrick.
Ooh, wow. That's a little bit closer than you want to see in practice if you're Daniel Hemrick right there. And, you know, fortunately for Jeb, he was able to feel that tire going down and get off to the side and pull it over, as we see right here, and kept anything more serious from happening to his car and Hemrick's as well.
Let's go to last week, because when we left you in Portland, one of the headlines was Jeb Burton. He and Chandler Smith getting together here. 27 goes for a ride in turn 4. He did not like that. Of course, he used to drive for Colleague. So after the race, he had some words for Chandler. The crews come in, separate the two. I talked to series director Wayne Aughton this week. He said he visited with both drivers. I understand they also were going to meet with NASCAR here in Sonoma. What's the latest on everything down there, Josh?
Yeah, well, I had a chance to talk with both Chandler and Jeb just before practice, and they said both of them had a conversation. Like you said, they met with NASCAR. They all talked. They heard each other's side of things, and the word was they're in a better place this week than they were last week. Now, Chandler said, hey, everything is done if Jeb is done. And then Jeb said, yeah, right now they just want to focus on racing. Things are where they stand. They see some things a different way after hearing each other out, but it's more of a agree to disagree type of scenario between these two guys right now.
That's a better place than they were.
A nice upgrade.
Yeah, they've done a nice job of elevating their relationship. We'll see how that all goes. This is a place, Regan, talk about 11 turns. That's 11 chances to knock somebody out of your way.
11 good chances too, Mikey. As you know, there's a lot of these corners that even if things are going well, you're out of control as you go through them, and somebody wants to lay the bumper to you, you're really going to be out of control.
Adam, I don't understand what you did wrong. I mean, I left you at Charlotte after the Xfinity race. I know it was nearly midnight.
Everything was in a good place.
Yeah, and I send you to Portland. And
I know. I dropped the ball.
I just need to talk to you when this is over. Maybe we can get a better place.
Typically, I'm known for spreading good cheer, but maybe
yes, you are.
not so much in
Happiness.
Portland. Here's Sammy Smith in the 18. Didn't have the outing he was hoping for at Portland last week, but they made a few changes to this race car. 14th quick, and what will be, I guess it'll be his second ever race tomorrow when we go green, but he had never been here before this weekend. Going to run the ARCA event later this afternoon. Was really fast in that car earlier today.
You know, and I love those guys coming out here with an ARCA car for Sammy Smith to give him that opportunity to learn. It makes him that much better. Even if it saves you 5 laps at the beginning of practice in terms of learning the racetrack, it's going to help you make at least one more change throughout practice to make the driver happier, for the crew chief to learn something. And you know, the teams that do make that extra effort to do that, it goes a long ways.
Yeah, I was talking to Daniel Suarez in the garage area. He said, I picked up a couple things that I know are going to apply to me racing my Cup car. Did that a year ago, got the big win here.
Worked out good a year ago.
And now he's in that same spot. And I also talked to his teammate Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain said the same exact thing. There's so much to be learned out there, and when we hit the track, if anything's different, we're going to know it and be that much more confident when we go get in our Cup car.
Both those drivers, Suarez, Chastain, inside the top 10. Sheldon Creed continues second in practice.
But I don't think we're very good. I think we fixed the initial turn from last week, but I'm really tight everywhere else. And then straight line drive is not very good. I start turning, it's good, but then it rolls over and it really doesn't turn.
That's good information for the crew chief there, huh, Regan? I mean, he's really breaking it down, telling them where it's hurting and where it needs help.
Well, and I think that's the key, Michael, right? If you can't tell him what's going to make you go faster, then you're just telling him what the car's doing. But he's telling him this is what I need to make it go faster. And listening to what he's saying right there, as we know, everybody's going to be searching for drive with these race cars. I would imagine maybe they soften the back of the car up just a little bit more, and that's where the tightness is coming from. And he still doesn't have the drive that he wants, and that's why the car's rolling over too much. A lot to unpack right there as he continues to make laps.
Here's what's great, though. You get 50 minutes of practice. Right now, you'd be right in the corner. Only 5 minutes left. But because we get this expanded practice session, you got a whole lot of time to figure this out, or a whole lot more time than you would on a normal week. Top 5 at Sonoma: Larson, Creed, Allmendinger, Custer, and Hemrick. Here's the lockdown for Sheldon Creed. You're not going to ask me here how many furlongs around this track or anything. All right, we played that game a couple of weeks ago. I failed. I'd just like to move on from that.
Isn't a furlong a quarter of a mile? Is that correct?
Eighth of a mile, I believe.
An eighth.
1/8.
Yeah, that's why I didn't do math too well.
Hey, when we went to break, we said Ross Chastain is 10th. He's not 10th anymore.
Let me tell you,
jumps up to 5th as Josh Berry goes for a ride.
I'll tell you what's impressive about...
rolling up to 7. If you're fired, you can roll now. Roll now, you're all good.
All right. No harm, no foul. What's impressive about that lap, Adam, it's his 5th lap on the racetrack, and it was his fastest. We talked earlier in the opening about tire fall off. That means Ross has got a good car under him.
Saw Josh Berry spin, and as he was sitting idle in 11, Justin Allgaier drove by. Surprising to me, and I know there's a lot of different agendas, and the scoreboard doesn't always tell the story in practice. But Allgaier's back there in 20th right now.
Yeah, I think based on the performance last week, how fast that car was in the road course at Portland, we would expect him to be one of the guys towards the top. And he does have laps around this place as well. So definitely maybe a little bit of searching going on with that 7 car right now. Or we'll have to see if it carries through to tomorrow, if they can get it figured out.
We were talking, Kevin Harvick and Asphalt Justin this morning, and we're talking about not knocking someone out of the way to win last week. And I said, I kind of feel like that if you hadn't have won Charlotte the week before, you might have been a little bit.
Probably would have made that.
So he agreed that probably had a little bit to do with it.
His last 4 races, though, have been incredible, talking about Justin Allgaier. Josh, what's up in the garage?
Yeah, guys, and I heard you guys talking about it a little while ago, and I think the big complaint I hear during practice from these guys over the radio, from Allgaier to Ty Gibbs to Sheldon Creed, is they just don't have the straight line drive that they need. And for you guys, how difficult is that to balance on a road course when you want to make sure you have turn, but you also need that straight line drive as well?
That's very difficult to balance, Josh. I mean, that is the name of the game, is trying to get the turn and drive. And they're going to continue to complain about the drive off all weekend long. This racetrack is such an old surface, as we got the caution out right now. Such an old surface, and I think we might see what Josh Berry ran into potentially here.
Something's out of place. That's turn 11.
What I talked about how cool this racetrack is, the whole experience. You know, I came here as a race car driver and I saw things through a windshield. But when you come here as a broadcaster and you see what Jill Gregory, all the people here at Sonoma Raceway have done, the Turn 11 Club down there, nice place to get you a fine, crispy Chardonnay. There's Ferris wheels. There's just so many things that make this an event. And I love NASCAR when it's an event. Concerts, it's got it all here.
If you're not racing here, you enjoy every aspect of Sonoma. If you're racing here, sometimes this place can create a little stress.
See Cole Custer, this looks like going into turn 7. So easy to lock up into that corner, and you got to be careful. You do that too many times during the race, it is going to flat spot that tire and continue to get worse.
Oh, that's easy to do there as well. Joe Graff Jr. into the gravel. Let's see if we can see our buddy Josh Berry down into turn 11. Wow, that's a big slide, isn't it?
Just a little nudge of the tires, not too bad, right? If you're going to hit them, that's the way to hit them. I hit him a few years ago, backed into him, and it ruined a race car, and tried not to ever do that again.
Saw the slide for Cole Custer. He's 4th right now in practice. Of course, we said he won last week in Portland. And when he won there, it was the first ever win as a crew chief for Jonathan Toney, who calls the shots for that 00. Toney is sick this week, didn't make the trip to Sonoma, so we wish Jonathan all the best, and gives us a chance to remind everyone that calling the shots this week is Greg Zipadelli, who the last time he was crew chiefing in the Xfinity Series was Chase Briscoe in 2000. He won 3 of his 4 starts atop the pit box, so that's a pretty good pinch hitter there.
Not a bad guy to throw in, right?
That's right. Red flag is out in Sonoma. Kyle Larson leading the way, Xfinity Series practice. Sonoma Raceway, built in 1968. And Michael, as we look at this video, you were saying prior to the break about all the great things that Joe Gregory, Marcus Smith, everyone's done with this place over the years. It's hard to imagine that what you're seeing here has turned into what we have today. And we got a Ferris wheel, and I know that's a place you like to spend a little time when you come to Sonoma.
Yeah, when Boyer won here in 12 or 13, I went for a walk, went up to the SS, having a radio on, telling the crew chief what I was seeing up there, and I said, well, darn, I bet I could see really good from that Ferris wheel. So we're leading the race. We eventually won it, and I got to watch part of it from the Ferris wheel. So I'm a little different, Adam. I don't know if
it was an up and down view from there, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was an up day all the way to the checker.
They use multiple spotters here at Sonoma, but the second stand for the spotters is not the Ferris wheel, in case you're wondering. It's just for owners who are killing time till they go to victory lane.
Here's Kyle Larson. We talked about how fast that 17 car is, hopping the curbs. He's run 8 laps so far. Daniel Hemrick's run the most at 12, so he must like that 12 car okay. You see 6 fastest so far, and that's kind of how you tell, right, Regan? If they go out there and stay out there, that means they don't need an adjustment. Oh, no. Somebody's going to need an adjustment.
Anthony Alfredo in the 78. Boy, he got it good.
That's going to bring out the red flag, too.
It's a tough place to go off. That's over just off of turn 1, and man, you don't want to have to roll a backup car out, and then by the appearance of that one, I would say that that's very likely what's going to happen for those guys.
Yeah, that's a mess. And if you're wondering, watching Portland last week, are these the same exact cars drivers are running, or do some of them have a new car for here? I talked to a couple of the crew chiefs, and most of the teams brought 2 cars to Portland, and the car that they raced at Portland, they put it on the truck as a backup car for here, and they got out a new one for here. So that's what the majority of the teams are doing. Hopefully they'll have a backup car for this 78, because that's done.
Let's see what happened to him. Looking from turn 2 back down the hill to turn 1.
Just went straight on him when he
got that throttle hung? Throttle's hung, I think. He's still gunning it. Is that what happened?
Here's 78 radio.
Made it that whole lap, and it just hung. I went into 1, I lifted, it never came off. I tried to grab it with my foot, it was too late.
Yeah, that's a shame, because he couldn't do anything. He's just a passenger at that point. Doesn't matter how hard to stand on the brakes, it's not going to stop.
And what he's talking about, trying to grab it with my foot, is you have a hook above your foot on those throttles that sometimes you can get your foot in there and grab it if it happens quick. And nothing scarier as a driver than a throttle hung.
Let's watch and listen, see what we can take from this replay.
25th fastest was Anthony before this mess. Bam. That was a shame, man. He just tried to make that left and let off the gas. And you've had it happen. We've all had it happen, Regan. There's nothing scarier than when you let off and it does. I mean, the only thing you can hope to do is get to the switch and kill the engine, which is an option, and also do, like he said, try to pull it up with your foot. But by then it's too late.
AMR safety team is there. You hate it for Anthony because he ran the Cup race here a couple of years ago. Showed a lot of speed. Felt like that experience could pay dividends this weekend.
I have made it to downtown Winchester.
What makes this connection between the track and the town so special?
Oh boy, let me tell you about Winchester.
It combines everything that makes our sport so good.
It attracted all these major names.
My favorite racetrack.
This place has been around over 100 years.
It's brought a lot of notoriety to Winchester.
I know there's a lot of opportunities for the community to connect with the Speedway.
I want to go to work. You got something for me?
I do.
That's what makes this place so special, right, is the history. And when they are renovating it right now, they haven't forgot about the history.
Just because we're in a small town doesn't mean we can't have a big impact.
Looking forward to that. Rush to Revival comes your way as a part of NASCAR Race Hub, just over a week away. Anthony Alfredo's car has been loaded onto the rollback there, and so they'll take it back to the garage and evaluate what the backup plan is. And now we do a little Josh and Josh show. Josh Sims with Josh Berry.
There you go. I like that, the Josh and Josh show. But either way, so 8th on the board, 9 laps completed, a little bit of a spin there in turn 11. So what did you learn about this track so far?
Trying to learn a lot quick. That was the first time I've ever been here. So the first couple laps made. But our Tire Pro Chevrolet seems pretty decent. You know, clicked off a couple decent laps there for never seeing the place. Just, yeah, I'm watching on TV there. I'd went offline to let that row of cars go by, and I don't know if I just got something on my tires or just got in a little too deep, but kind of locked up the tires and spun her down there to the infield. But no harm, no foul. The car's okay, and we're gonna bolt on another set of tires here and keep learning.
Thanks, Josh, and good luck this weekend.
If I were going to take a driver to a track and they've never seen it and think I have a chance to compete, he'd be top of my list, or one of them anyway, to go out and be able to get it done. Always just finds a way to adapt. You know, Sheldon Creed doesn't have a lot of experience here either. Had a West start here a few years ago, but boy, is he produced early in this practice session. He is second right now to Kyle Larson. Let's compare the 17 and the 2 using our Ghost Car technology.
I'm glad we didn't have this when I drove, Regan.
You can't hide from stuff with all the technology that we have now. If you're doing it wrong, you're doing it wrong.
Just watching old Jeff Gordon drive away from you on virtual is probably harder than in real life. But you can see just a great exit to that corner. Nice speed through the center as well.
Yeah, and I like what Sheldon did there. That was turn 11, and as he came off of turn 11, he kept it hugged into the barriers as close as he could. There is grip there if you do that. I never was able to figure that out here, how to make that line work and how to get the speed when you do that. This is turn 10 that they're coming through, and you can see the difference between Kyle Larson, just a little bit lower, how he stretches him right there, but a lot made up in this braking zone, and you know, I think Sheldon, with as well as he's been on the road courses, we would have to assume he's very good at those braking.
Yeah, the braking's probably the key, right? You know, guys that really know how to road course can get deeper in the corner than most people that don't know what they're doing on these places.
Yeah, if you're gonna pass, Michael, you're gonna have to be able to do it under the brakes.
We were talking earlier about Justin Allgaier, 20th right now. 17 of Kyle Larson has caught his eye in this practice session.
I mean, dude, that 17 car, it's pretty impressive. I mean, he's aggressive with it. I mean, he's spinning tires, and you know, he's not like patient at all, but he's carrying lap time forever. You know what I mean?
You know, as a driver, and when you see another car out there doing the things that you want your car to do, you try to relay that to your crew chief and let them know, and that's just that's part of, you know, as Justin, I'm sure, is talking about his race car, he's also watching other cars because he needs his car to do that.
You know, and we see at COTA penalties issued to some drivers when they go off the track in certain areas. We don't have any of that here. Sonoma will bite you and be the penalty that gets applied to you if you do something out of order here. There's just no room to hide, as you see there. Anthony Alfredo's mess they're trying to get cleaned up.
Remember when we said experience is key, and these drivers get 50 minutes of practice? Turns out they're not
liking this.
50 minutes. The red flag is out. Track repair continues. Back in a moment. If you're just joining us on this Friday afternoon, practice halted one more time for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Anthony Alfredo had to get away from him in turn 1. So with the red flag out, we look at our playoffs leaderboard halfway through the regular season, and you see 7 series regulars have won. 10 drivers overall have been to victory lane, but only 7 that are going for the championship. And right now, when you look at the bubble, Michael, you just circled it there on the telestrator. Daniel Hemrick, who won a championship 2 years ago, only plus 14 over Brandon Jones.
Yeah, you got Jones, Kligerman, Sieg, and Brett Moffitt. All those cars can win a race. And so it's going to be really interesting to see who fluctuates above and below that line as we race toward the playoffs.
You know, you wonder why Parker Kligerman a week ago made the move into turn 1 that he did. It's because of what you just circled right there. He's so close on that bubble. The wind makes him sleep a lot better at night. And I look at the playoff points right now also. Austin Hill with 18 of them. Him and John Hunter Nemechek putting in quite a battle right now to get the overall season championship. If he can do that, that's 15 bonus points. That could prove very big.
And this weekend starts a run of 5 of the next 10 races as we look toward the playoffs that will be on road courses. And 2 or 3 of those will be non-Cup drivers in the field, which means huge opportunities for some of these series regulars to go out and get a win. You mentioned Parker Kligerman. I think about a guy like Kaz Grala. Some of these drivers that are really good on the road that can go out and take advantage with no Cup presence to put themselves in the playoffs.
That Kyle Larson flag flying proudly here in Northern California, where that young man grew up.
You know, we talk about the races with no Cup presence, but this weekend with the Cup presence that's out there, definitely a big deal for these guys to want to go out and beat a guy like Kyle Larson. If Sheldon Creed could pull that off tomorrow, for example, think about what a feather in his cap that would be for his career right now.
Well, you mentioned the drivers that are here this weekend. And it's not just that there's Cup drivers in the field, it's their accomplishments. A.J. Allmendinger, all-time wins leader, road course racing in Xfinity. Ty Gibbs has 3 road course wins. We know about Ross Chastain and his success winning a Cup car last year at COTA. And then you've got Kyle Larson and Daniel Suarez, who have won the last 2 Cup races right here in wine country. So, I mean, gosh, across the board, what Ross Chastain did last year in Austin, Texas, and those two, the Larson and Suarez, have done here. It's really, really set up for a good lineup in tomorrow's race.
You know, what's amazing to me, in the last 10 races for A.J. Allmendinger, 6 wins and 3 seconds. We talk about how crazy road racing can be and people getting mad at each other and fighting and shoving. How's he do that? That just shows you the talent of that man.
Let's go down to Josh.
Here with Anthony Alfredo, checked and released from the Infield Care Center. Car got torn up. I know you're a little frustrated. What happened out there?
Yeah, my throttle hung going into turn 1, one of the fastest parts of the racetrack, and it's weird because we had some issues under the hood when we started practice. We had just made a component swap under the hood to try to get it running better, and everything was fine when I went out to start my lap, so I don't know how it stuck at that point. Like, there was no sign of that. Obviously, I would have brought in before that, but I figured I'd go out, get a couple laps in. We really hadn't been able to work on the car much yet, and I went into turn 1, lifted off the gas pedal, and it stuck to the floor. So pretty helpless feeling. I hate it because we had a great run our Dude Wipe Chevrolet Camaro last week, had good speed, something to build on for this weekend, and now our weekend's kind of over or behind the 8 ball before we get started. So I'm not sure what we're going to do for a car. Going to take a lot of work. My guys work way too hard for all the bad luck we've had. I mean, it just hasn't been meant to be. So every setback's a setup for a major comeback, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I tried to turn and slow down as much as I could without locking the fronts up to try to miss the wall. And there's no safer bear in that wall too, and I just clobbered that one and slid to the tires. You know, by the time I got to the kill switch and knew the throttle was stuck, it was too late. Just all happened so fast. So super disappointing, but I'm all right. Appreciate the medical team and everybody at NASCAR for that. We're just gonna have to figure out what to do and rebuild.
Glad you're okay, Anthony.
Thanks.
Yeah, certainly that's the main concern, that he's able to walk away and break it down for us. And now you got to go to work and see if you can borrow a car from somebody.
Going to have just a few minutes to go in practice when we come back, showing 8 minutes right now and hopefully green when we return. And there's a look at the drag strip here at Sonoma, and if you are an NHRA fan, we got a great weekend for you. Washed out last weekend in New England, so the Epping finals are going to be this weekend as a part of a double dip in Bristol tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We've got Bristol qualifying, and then the Epping finals round 1 coming up tonight at 8 o'clock all right here on FS1. So we look forward to that. All right, green flag back in the air at Sonoma for the Xfinity Series.
A lot of drivers very happy to be back on that racetrack, as they had to sit around for just a little while. And a lot of crew chiefs probably telling their drivers right now, we just want you to run to the end of this session. Get as many laps as you can. Get comfortable for tomorrow. Maybe a couple guys that potentially will do a mock run for qualifying, but certainly the laps are going to be critical now.
So many cars taking advantage of these last few minutes. Track's nearly full. Everywhere you turn, there's going to be something in your way, as you see diving to the bottom on Ross Chastain. That's
clear to your bumper.
Good practice session for Custer coming off the win last week. 4th. Haven't said a lot about A.J. Allmendinger today, but he is 3rd. Rare to say it, but quietly inside the top 5 for the all-time wins leader on road courses.
John Hunter Nemechek is currently 7th fastest, but that fast lap came on lap 8, Adam. So they weren't where they wanted to be to start this session, but on those older tires, still putting up that kind of speed. He'll be a factor tomorrow. You know that.
Give him a lot of confidence when he lays down to go to bed tonight.
Look at that left front wheel tire up off the ground. That's so fun to watch. What do you think your most favorite part of this whole course was, Regan? Where'd you really get a smile on your face when it went well?
Oh, when I got on the airplane to go home. I never really found a favorite part to this course, Mikey. I will say that to me, Sonoma it's an enjoyable racetrack to be out there and drive on, right? It's a lot of fun, but I never had the ability to figure out what was going to make me go faster here and what areas that I needed to concentrate more on. It just seemed like I couldn't get the wheel spin to stop and couldn't do a lot of things right as a driver at this track.
How about this? 36 cars on track right now. And Michael, if you look at our track map, we've got in the alternate start-finish line. We're using it today for practice. We'll use it again tomorrow for qualifying. That's a really big deal for these teams for so many reasons.
Yeah, you just don't need to go tiptoeing all the way back around the racetrack after you complete your lap at the start-finish line. So that's where the qualifying will be, and that means they can just go across that yellow line right there. You can see the fancy sign right there.
Well, we almost saw it. Your circle was way bigger than it needed to be.
Let me show you something that I've gotten really good at.
Let's see it. Oh, that's quality.
Fancy, right?
Fancy sign, fancy arrow. We've got all the fancy going right now.
That's moved actually back up toward turn 7 from where it was a year ago. Last year was all the way down toward turn 10. You're carrying so much speed on a qualifying run, you can't get woe down after you finish your lap. That was a tough spot.
And the problem is, as a driver, you would drive until you got to the line. You're taught not to lift until you cross the start-finish line, which is where it was set up at. They were blasting through turn 10 and missing turn 10, going off the racetrack and creating potential problems with guys getting into the tire barrier because of it.
Not potential. It was a problem.
It was a problem.
Carson Hocevar spun out and hit the wall after getting the pole.
But man, he was fast when he did it.
Saw Sam Mayer flash through your screen. Also saw the 4 from JD Motorsports. Ty Dillon driving that car this weekend. 2 minutes to go in practice. On board Riley Herbst.
So many options through turn 7 right here, Michael. How much of that curve do you use? How far up on it do you go? I didn't ever have a good option. What did you do?
I like riding up on it like that, just trying to get that thing turned using the curb and get headed to the next part of the S's with as much momentum as I can. And this is fun, swinging around this left-hander, that left front tire up in the air. You can really feel that. Don't lose your focus because of the Ferris wheel over there. Keep your eye on the road. And then this is fun too, just slamming on the brakes and going from 4th to 2nd.
And we talk about the lines down here in turn 11. Just so many options of what you can do. The paint down there to the right, if you get your car on it just right, there is some grip down there. I know, for me, Martin Truex Jr. is somebody that has just perfected that over the years, the ability to really keep it down there and get the drive off.
And what you want to see at times on that right side of the race car, you kind of want to see some tire scuffs there, where you've gotten down in the corner and got against those tires. Barely touching them. That means you're taking advantage of all that paint that you talked about and making that turn as small as possible.
They've now added 5 minutes, the 5 minutes to our clock. So we're inside of 6 minutes to go in practice as we peek in on the 28 of Eric Almirola, making his 2nd Xfinity start of the year, up to 6th on our scoreboard.
Saw Eric right before this practice session started, and we were reminiscent about how much fun this racetrack really is. And then he was another guy. He said, any opportunity I can get to get more laps on this track, not even as much about Cup stuff as it is about, it's just so fun to go around this racetrack.
He and his Cup crew chief, Drew Blickensdorfer, were together on NASCAR Race Hub this week. And I mean, during the commercials, you could just feel the energy and chemistry between those two. Such a nice combo. Hopefully they can get it going this weekend here on the road course. He's got a couple of top 10 finishes here at Sonoma recently. 5 minutes to go now in practice for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. man, you got to hit the curb to be fast, right? And they're not afraid to do it, especially A.J. Allmendinger. Just over 2 minutes remaining. NASCAR Xfinity Series practice here at Sonoma. Kyle Larson just been incredible in the session from the word go. Creed, Allmendinger, Custer, and Ty Gibbs, a 3-time winner on the road in the Xfinity Series, your top 5.
There's that blue Hendrick.com number 17. HendrickCars.com if you're looking on the internet. Just make sure you add the cars.
In case you're looking to make a purchase, right?
If you say I want something that fast, I'm not sure they're selling those, but this is incredible watching Kyle run around this racetrack. Such pace.
He just picked his speed up about 4 laps ago, and obviously bolted on the last set of sticker tires that they have, and whatever adjustments they had been making, you know, early on in the session, it worked. I think it's fair to say.
I go back to his Cup win here a couple of years ago, and that's when we got cautions at the end of the stages. And the equation then was you might be able to stay out, get stage points for stage 1 and pit, but you can't do that at stage 2. You got to flip it to make sure you have the track position for the final stage. What did they do? They stayed out both times, won both stages, and won the race. It's about as dominant a performance as we've seen in a Cup race on a road course maybe ever.
He rewrit all the rules that we thought we understood at that moment, and all the strategies we thought we understood.
Parker Kligerman in the 48 hits pit road. You see everybody off the racetrack to pit road. Get around that. That's a practice also, Regan. You want to see how fast you can get to the speed line right there, the yellow line they just crossed.
Something that'll be very important for these guys as we get into tomorrow. Likely they will be making green flag pit stops at some point here.
That was the Parker train there. Parker Retzloff, Parker Kligerman. So we're back here tomorrow. NASCAR Xfinity Series qualifying and the race. We look forward to that. Coming up tonight, NASCAR Race Hub, 6 Eastern Time. And as we wrap up practice, here's a reminder of tomorrow's schedule. Qualifying at 3. Cup practice qualifying at 5 o'clock on FS2. Race day at 7:30. The race at 8. Kyle Larson leads the way in practice. Now it's America's Day at the Racing on FS1.